Yo, so clear your throat while I'm doing my intro. Hey, what's up, everybody? What's going on? I'm Brian. I'm always here, always here. I'm here as always with my main squeeze. Ooh, I'm squeezing you now, Mr. Freddie. Mr. Freddie, how are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. How are you,
That
sir?
I'm good. I'm good. It's Wednesday, and for anyone who doesn't know, we usually record these actually a week out, but today's a special one. Today we're recording 2 days out because yesterday was the beginning of Gamescom, which always starts out with Mr. Jeff Keighley doing a really fun showcase to launch Gamescom. So we're going to take some time today, kind of cover what that was, give our thoughts on that, and yeah, and you're gonna listen to it because you're here. So sit back, relax, and yeah, let's get into it. All right, Freddie. Third episode, Gamescom. I
I
love
thought
Gamescom.
I thought it was good. I thought it started off with a bang with some rando jumping on the stage.
It did. What is going on right
And
now?
first
Like,
of all, where's security? And I think this guy, I guess I was reading a little bit on him. He's like a big fanatic for GTA 6, and he's done this elsewhere. People in the chat or comments, if you guys know what's going on with this guy, like please let us know. But this is like the second time they did it with Elden
I
Ring
know, dude.
during
Well, that
the
was a different kid. That was that Bill Clinton kid.
right. Yeah, I don't know
Or are
what
they
that was
all
about.
part of like the same group of just idiots who want to like? I
I
mean,
just don't
I
know
don't know, dude. But
where's security? Like
dude,
where's
and he's wearing like a terrible shirt. I mean, he looks like a bum. I'm like, who the hell let this guy even into the conference?
yeah,
But
it says Austin 316 which is like I think the Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt.
oh, is that what that is? Oh, okay.
I,
I don't know,
yeah.
dude. But Jeff, I
Anyways,
mean,
but
Jeff like handled it
he,
so well. He was just like,
he,
yes, okay, you're. He so badly probably wanted to punch the guy and call him an idiot, but he was just like, I'm so disappointed, And then he kept it. He kept it incredibly mature and like, what's the word
well,
I'm looking for? Like,
he was just a pro, dude.
yeah, he
He
was.
kept the show moving forward, and and
But
I'm
behind
sure.
those eyes,
Oh yeah, the
we were
rage.
watching it, and I was like, dude, this man is pissed. Like, you just look at his eyeballs, like someone got fired.
Well, I think the big thing is that I think he was just pissed at security. Like, how does
Yeah.
this happen? Like, how do you let people just randomly jump on stage?
And they had
It's
two
wild.
people actually. I rewatched it, and a second guy managed to make it to stage before
Oh,
security
really?
ever even. Yeah, there was like another guy who came up, and I was just like, oh my god. But anyways, let's talk
Yeah,
about the
yeah,
show.
yeah.
So before we get into like the actual nitty gritty, like, I mean, what were your thoughts overall for the, which is way longer than I thought. They need to cut these things back. This thing was like over 2 hours. But what did you think?
Well, before what I put in, what I think, I want to make sure the pod knows to please subscribe and find
Oh
us on
yeah, yeah.
all the podcast places. We're on
I'm so bad
iTunes
at
and
this.
Spotify and Google Pod and iHeartRadio and all the other places. Also, if you're on YouTube, follow, subscribe. We are giving away a copy of Starfield for
We
our
are.
bunch of folks that will subscribe and retweet and share the goodness that we are to the world. So
Yes.
if you want the world to be better, subscribe.
Yes. Yes. That's what we're all about. One pot at a time makes the world a better place. I don't know. Anyways, thank you for
Anyways,
that. I always forget. I'm like, I need to make like a post-it note and stick it on here and be like, remember to promote yourself.
yeah. So I think my big takeaway was thank you Starfield for copying Destiny's live action video like
Oh,
trailer
right.
because that was dope, dude. I really
That
liked it.
was
I think
really good.
and I know people were talking about how Starfield's not going to be there, blah 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 blah. But they talked about how they have like this basically a ship that people can sit in and watch the first act essentially
Which I
be
think
played out.
leaked now too. Like 40 minutes of the game leaked online.
Yeah, the game. I mean, there's a bunch of leaks and whatever. I don't care, man. I'm gonna play the crap out of it. This game. Looks really good.
It
It looks
does.
way better.
The
Way
little
better.
combat. The little
Yeah,
comp.
it
Oh.
looks. If
Mm.
it's, it seems like a little bit like
Mm.
it really, dude. It looks like it feels a little between like Wolfenstein
Yeah.
and then like Destiny's floatiness, but
Hmm.
not Diablo, not Doom's
Fallout.
like, yeah, like Fallout, but like way more floaty. Fallout was a little boxy when
Well,
when
that's what I
the
mean. It
movement,
looks nothing like Fallout. Like it doesn't look
right?
like Bethesda combat. Like it looks.
Right. Well, I know Id was helping Microsoft. I mean, we have a bunch of shooters in house. Not we. I'm not part of Microsoft, but they.
Oh no, the truth is out. No, well,
Yeah.
supposedly, they said that ID did not help with combat. Like they helped with like other things.
Oh,
But
really?
I mean, who knows? I mean, who cares, honestly? But like what I will say I mean, I was not on the Starfield bandwagon.
No,
I
you're
I
a
like
hater.
Bethesda. I was a hater. I mean, I like Bethesda. I like Skyrim. I love Fallout. I love all of their games. But in my mind, I was like, yeah, a space shooter from a developer who's shooting, in my opinion, isn't very good. I don't think Fallout's shooting's very good. I like Fallout because the VAT system is fun, where you kind of like freeze it, blow someone's limb off or whatever it is. I couldn't wrap my head around, okay, well, how's this going to work in Starfield? Like, and they're really leaning into it. And it on that big 45-minute showcase completely changed my perspective. And then again, in Gamescom, we get the incredible live action trailer, which could easily be a TV series that I would watch. Which, I mean, me and you talked about this. We're always like, these guys spend all this money and they make these live action trailers. And I'm like, I would watch that. And then it never goes anywhere. I
Yeah,
mean, it's not like it would, but I'm just, like, they should totally make a show.
the Destiny one was fantastic too.
It
I mean,
was.
like that's why a big selling point too for the masses is like, oh look, this is what it looks like in real life.
Yeah.
And then they buy the game and they're like, oh, this is
And
a
they did
grind.
the
And
intrigue with he
yeah,
touches the
and then
stone and then comes back
ooh,
and the little girl's like, I want to. Anyway, it was really good. And then they
yeah,
showed
props to
off
them.
clips again, the game and the combat, which I think is just smart. If you want to promote the game, in my opinion, promote that combat because it looks really good, which is honestly hard to do too. Sometimes you look at combat and you're like, yeah, I mean, I don't know, but like when you see the Starfield combat and the jetpack and the way it's being done, like it feels heavy and weighty and clean, which is just I
So,
can't wait.
so I would say, just to be devil's advocate, I will say that they've shown the same combat
Well, they
since
have,
the.
yeah.
We haven't really seen anything new, and hopefully that's not the single area that you
Yeah, right.
just use your
It's
weapons.
like this
Right,
one part that
everything.
really works.
But no, I mean, I agree. I think they did a great job promoting the game. I thought that was something that they were going to do regardless. I think that it made sense, and I think that it led into a couple of other pretty awesome games like
Yes, they went from Starfield to Black Myth Wukong, which you
yep.
didn't know what it was, right?
I think I saw during the PlayStation showcase. I think they
Yeah,
showcased it.
I think they showcased it. Yeah, but
And
this so
no,
this game has been going for like years. This has been like in
yeah,
development for a long time, using Unreal, obviously. Again, it's
yeah.
going to be a Souls-like game, and I mean, I mean, I like all Souls-like games. So, and then the lore around this is always cool since it's based on Wukong, which is actual like, is it Asian? I don't even.
I, th-
I'm gonna sound stupid. It's based on an actual thing,
I think it's
and
Chinese.
it might be Chinese. Yeah, that's just really cool, and they're leaning into it heavily. And the enemy design and the world design, all of it looks fantastic. So I personally can't wait to get my hands on it.
And they're using Unreal 5, which is one of the
Yeah.
first few games coming out. They showed a ridiculous trailer for Killing Floor.
Oh god,
Like,
that was so violent.
originally, the monsters kind of look like for the
Doom.
enemies in no, not
Yeah,
Doom.
or not Doom.
Gears of War. It was like
Gears
that
of
really
War.
kind of
That's right.
boxy, but then it was like Killing Floor and like limbs flying off, and it was just I was like, okay.
At first, I was like,
No,
"Oh my god, are they changing gears? And is there going to be like robot gears?" And I was like, "Oh no, never mind."
no. And then that led into Mr. Your friend, your
Yes,
favorite
my actual
superhero.
friend. No, I
Yeah,
wish.
your favorite superhero director,
Mr. Snyder.
Mr. Snyder, showing the trailer, which looked
For Star
incredible.
Wars Rebel Moon. I mean, Rebel Moon, no Star Wars.
I mean, he might actually make a better Star Wars than what Disney's doing.
Did
I mean,
you see what
it
was
looks.
trending after it? They like put gifs of the lightsabers, and they were like, "Does Zack Snyder just like make lightsabers even cooler?" And I'm like, "Yeah, he did."
Oh yeah, I mean, it looks fantastic, and I like the fact that they're making a game, which
Yep.
is super cool. And then I love the name of the studio. It was like Evil. What is it? Evil
Evil Megacorp.
Megacorp. I love that, but it's
But you said
basically
that's
all the
Netflix, right? So that is
yeah.
Netflix Studio.
Yeah, so Netflix they basically gave them a unlimited budget for, and then it's a bunch of producers and directors and designers from like the likes of folks from Microsoft, folks from Sony. Lots of the best studio directors have left. I wouldn't say a lot, but like some
Yeah.
prominent ones have left to create this. Like they're supposed to be, for kind of like what Microsoft said about the initiate, what is it called? What's that developer?
The one making yeah, I know what you're talking
Uh,
about. Where it's a new developer, and are they the one making Perfect Dark
yes. The initiation. No, it says with the I.
Initiative? I don't know. I know what you're
The,
saying though.
the
But
initiative.
so
The
Rebel
initiative.
Moon's going to be the launch IP then for a
Yeah.
Netflix gaming company.
Yeah. Well, they have a couple of indie like phone like stuff related to their or IPs that they already have, like
Oh, okay.
yeah, like but whatever the
Cool. I mean,
yeah.
Amazon, I mean, they're in gaming. They have New World. They bought that ARPG Lost World, I think, or whatever it's called, Lost Ark.
Yeah, I
So
mean, they're focusing on like gaming as a service, where I think Netflix is trying to just find another avenue of revenue, and gaming is
hey, why
very
not?
lucrative.
And
So,
Evil Megacorp fits right in with who they are.
dude, I love that's like that's
They
just so
just leaned
good.
into it. They were like, "Look, we're gonna do gaming too." It's like, "Yeah, dude, we're just an Evil Megacorp." And somebody was like, "That's it." And he's like, "What? That's the name of the studio."
Yeah, no, and then I think we they started talking about, or actually, the game that really stood out to me that I will never play but would love it if it was a shorter game was, I think, the
Oh,
uh
Crimson Desert.
Yeah, Crimson Desert looks incredible. It's just a humongous MMO type game, but the combat and the destructive environment looks super
That
dope.
looked really cool.
But I know it's probably going to be 20
It's gonna be massive.
billion, yeah,
Yeah.
hours, and I just don't have, as a gaming father and business entrepreneur, I don't have
The
time.
handsome boy entrepreneur.
Next pod, I will wear my shirt that my wife
Oh my
made
god.
me. But yeah, so
Yeah, Crimson
that was
Desert
cool.
looked good. Crimson Desert, I've been watching as well for the last couple of years, and it's been in development for a while. Also using, wait, I don't want to say that because I don't know for sure. I'm pretty sure it's using Unreal. But it looked cool.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I like the destructive environment and stuff. Like the combat looks really cool. But yeah, what about you? What else? What else do you got?
I mean, well, so from there, if I turn to my notes, honestly, y'all, like, so I'm gonna pause for a second too. There's a couple more games obviously to cover, but I will say up to this point of watching it, like nothing about Gamescom really surprised me. By the time we hit this point, I think if anyone wasn't watching, like it was they 100%. I mean, and Jeff Keighley had said this. He had come out and said like we pretty much already told you the games that are going to be here, and he wasn't kidding. There wasn't like any sort of big surprise. We are in a giant release year already, so this was just really hitting
Insane.
on this was just hitting on these highlights for these games that are coming. And so I'm going to quickly run through just a couple here and stop at one that I'm sure Freddie will have things to say about. So it went from there to Payday 3. Payday 3 is obviously a the third version of Payday. It's going to be on Game Pass. I'm not a huge Payday guy, so I didn't really care. They jumped into that to Assassin's Creed Mirage, which we've talked about a little bit. I think you mentioned you were actually impressed with the authentic Arabic in it.
Oh yeah, the dialects are perfect.
Right. Outside of that, though, I was kind of like, yeah, I don't care. Like Mirage is pulling from old school Assassin's Creed, so I don't really know
Yeah.
how much I'm going to get into that.
I'm not sure how you pivot from building out these massive, Valhalla game with the open world and like the combat system, and then go back
Go
to,
like
oh,
full
by the
stealth.
way,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just not. It's a hard transition. It's a different game. I mean,
Yeah.
that's and then
And
I
then
guess
that
they went
jumps
into,
Tekken 8. Yeah.
yeah,
And
and
then to, the next game, which we flubbed with Freddie's terrible data or terrible rumors from the last
le- less
podcast, which was Call of Duty Modern
listen,
Warfare 3.
listen,
Yo,
Linda.
look, listen. Your
Pod,
podcast, your information sucked and was wrong.
Pod. I apologize, but
uh,
it wasn't just me. All right, man. I said it was a rumor, and I
it's
looked, and
true. You did.
it was all over the place. And I was hopeful, but the rumor was wrong. But the stuff that's coming with it, the new Call of Duty, looks pretty awesome.
It
Honestly,
looks
like
awesome, but I was a little. I'm not as
underwhelmed.
high. Yeah, because one, they showed a mission. It just looked like Call of Duty, which whatever. Obviously, it's Call of Duty, which breeds more Call of Duty. But actually, what really made me step back is Infinity Ward's only helping. This is Sledgehammer. So I mean, they said it's Infinity Ward's first zombies, but Sledgehammer is working on it too. So it's. Which is interesting to say Modern Warfare, and it's 2 developers now. So, which makes me think it's not, because obviously Infinity Ward was making Modern Warfare 2, and Sledgehammer was in conjunction making 3. Like, there was no way Infinity Ward turned this game in a year. So the way it's happening is Sledgehammer was simultaneously working on 3, and I'm sure they like collaborated in whatever. So I don't know. I don't know what to think about this. The open world zombies, I'm going to buy it just for that. I'm not going to lie. I'm 100% in. I'm always down for changes in zombies. And I'll try it just for that. And I'll try it, again for the campaign, since they're doing more of that like Far Cry style, where you go in, you assess, and then you can go in loud, you can stealth, you can whatever.
Yeah, so this game doesn't look any more polished or different than 2. So I think they could have been working on this simultaneously, the combined developers. I think they maybe Sledgehammer came in and did the zombies, since Modern Warfare never did zombies outside of Advanced Warfare, and I think that was also Sledgehammer helping. So
that was also Aliens, I think, right? It was like
it was
it was like an alien thing.
It was like alien zombies. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever works.
The new zombie thing, I think I said it like without excitement. I am excited. It's like, it sounded like it's essentially the DMZ mode, but with zombies, which sounds really cool.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, would have been better if it was like a $50 game, because it's nothing, it's essentially an expansion. Yes. But this is Activision
with bringing
before.
Modern Warfare 2 old maps up, since like it sounds like a lot of the maps are going to be from
older maps redefined or whatever, or like reimagined. Yeah, I mean, they've already done that throughout 2. So I mean, look, it's going to be a number 1 seller. Call of Duty doesn't really fail.
I mean, no, it doesn't fail. The zombies alone, I think people are going to buy that for the zombie. I mean, people screamed when they said open world zombies. I mean, that just sounds really cool. So
when you combine both, right? You combine the original, you're not combining. It's not Black Ops, or no offense to people that love Black Ops, but it's not the best sellers, right? The best seller is always the Advanced
Modern Warfare. So from there, we went to another like MMO game. It's like it's a survival game. It's also been in the works for quite a while. It's going to have a February 22nd, 2024 early access. That's Nightingale for anyone who is looking forward to that. And they jumped into a like anime game, which I'm not. You can just stop me if you have any words, but I'm not a huge anime guy. It's called Grand Blue Fantasy. Don't know much about it. And that rolled into Immortals of Avium, which is actually already out. I played it a little bit. It's on the Hitmanbk channel if anybody would like to see what that looks like. I'm going to continue playing it. Personally, I think it's actually a pretty damn good game. Just going to suffer from the fact that it's being sandwiched in between AAA blockbuster games that are currently like out right now.
I do think it's funny that on Twitter there's a debate about PlayStation and Xbox, and how Xbox has lower standards, because the game specifically has an 80 plus, and on PlayStation it has a like 70. But when you look at the reviews, like the people that are giving the bad reviews are not really reputable, like higher end news organizations.
It's hard when you have EA on your box. It still is today. If you say EA, I mean, I even put a video out saying like, redefine the FPS genre or whatever. Check out Immortals. And then my comments were like, EA, I'll pass. I'm like, okay, well, I get it. But at the same time, like it's EA Originals. So there's actually an independent studio. Yeah, it's a
Yep.
new studio. They did not have to use Frostbite. I had the lead combat
Unreal 5.
designer in my chat. They use Unreal 5. Like, it is a good game. It is worth playing if you have some extra cash. And you want to try to get something, or you're not interested in, say, Armored Core, Starfield, Atlas Fallen, Remnant 2, Baldur's Gate 3.
Um,
It's got terrible timing. They really should have just pushed the game to, like, I don't even know, maybe next year, but it was a good game. It is a good game.
uh, and it's just like letting the people know. Like I have a pretty beefy PC, and that game crushed my
Choose it up. Yeah.
chewed it up. So I wanted to kind of the reviews on console was good, so like I'm interested to see how that plays out. But yeah, what
And
else?
then what else we get? Oh, so I said anime games, LOL. So I look, I have absolutely. If you love anime games, I think that is fantastic. But I do not care. So, and there was a long run of them, so I didn't put them on there. And that ended. They transitioned to the Lords of the Fallen. We've covered that enough here. Another Souls-like. I'm super excited about. Drops in October. Very cool trailer for that. And yeah, and then after that, Freddie, what did you think of it's another MMO? I believe it is a free to play, an MMO first person shooter, The First Descendants. What did that do for you?
I thought it's I'm weary of any games that are free to play.
I know.
Because I mean, what's the? I mean, they have to make money, right? So it has to be. What are you going to make me buy? Whatever gear or I have to play it. I have to like.
Yeah.
I'm for sure gonna test it out, right? I mean, it's free to play, but it looks good. The
You'd be
mechanics
like,
look
look at this
good.
cool weapon. Oh, cool. How do I get that? $10 or grind for 200 hours. Okay, I
Exactly,
think I'm
right.
out.
Yeah, again, it's one of those things where like have to manage my time and see, hey, if this is the thing is like I don't mind spending a couple bucks here and there, but I'm not going to give you 60 $70 and then having to wait or all that just goes down the drain once you do a new season and then all the
Right.
guns that I have are like nerfed. So I don't know. We'll see, but it looks good. I mean,
It
I'm
does. It looks
surprised that
cool.
it I think it would have been fine if they did a regular release instead of free to play, but
We're
there's not a
actually,
lot of
we're actually gonna have, like, we're gonna, for the next, not this podcast obviously, but the next one we're gonna bring in another friend of ours who plays a lot of games, and we're gonna talk about we're gonna talk about frames per second and a couple of things. I'm gonna kind of like advertise this to y'all too, because I think this is a good segue. But I also think in that we're gonna talk about these kind of games, because like even Freddie's saying, like, it does look good, and Wayfinder, which is out right now, looks good, and Warframe is good, and Destiny is good, and Nightingale looks good, and Crimson Desert looks good. But it's like, there is only, even if you're not a full-time dad and or full-time, you might be a full-time employee, and there is only so much time in the day. And like, I agree, this game looks good, but these MMOs like require so much investment, and it sucks, because you're like, man, this is so much fun to play. Like, Wayfinder wasn't in Gamescom, but I've been playing it, and it's cool, but it's just like, whew, I mean, like, I don't,
well,
there's no time.
well, well, it's just like there's too many of them. Like they're all
Yeah.
coming out roughly around the same time, or you have one that have they've been around. Like WoW is still out and about
Yeah.
for like 30 years, right? So there's ones that are true, true through and through that have been around forever, and then all these new ones. Like the model doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people in the world. I'm sure people it caters to specific niche.
Niche,
Sorry,
niche. But
niche.
eventually, dude, like, you're right though. Eventually, like, they're gonna start failing, because like there's only, you can't have 200 live service games all at the success of WoW or Destiny. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, it's like those are the exception to the rule. Those are not the rule. And if you
Right.
think that is the rule, you are mistaken. And you just spent several hundreds of millions of dollars creating a game that nobody will play. So I don't wish that on anybody because I love developers. They're the best because they make games.
Yep.
But
But maybe make more just, you know, 30-hour RPGs.
well, I just don't know why don't make a narrative 30-hour game that becomes an MMO like later
That's cool.
on.
Yeah, or that. Yeah.
Like I mean, I don't think they've ever made anything like that. And if they're,
That's still honestly what
chat.
I love about Destiny. I know Lightfall wasn't what people wanted. But if you think back to Witch Queen and some of the things they're doing, it's really cool that there's an MMO game there, but there's also like a really good 10-hour campaign, and then you can just back out if you want.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that's why Destiny was so successful. Is it doesn't focus on just the go out and explore the world and
Grind. Yeah.
PvP and grind, but there's a story, and I think the story was what I liked, right? And then the story kind of got lost in translation of
Well,
all
yeah,
the
it's over. It's way too complicated.
convoluted. Yeah,
Convoluted. Yeah.
yeah. So like, I think that if you want to make an MMO, developers, look at me, look at me. If you want to make an MMO, make a 20-hour campaign that is awesome that leads into an MMO, and you will make money on both ends. So if you do make this game, you should send me a free copy. Thank you. That is my announcement.
Okay. After that, there's two of these actually in the show. I think we might have skipped over one, but they did like 2 or 3 Game Pass trailers, which I always thought was cool. Me and Freddie were actually talking about this recently, that I fundamentally do not understand how people are not a part of Game Pass. I mean, if you're gonna buy Starfield, you are essentially almost paying for a full year of Game Pass. So just buy Game Pass for the year, download Starfield for free, and you get Liza P plus a whole bunch of other games. Like, it's a no-brainer.
I think people don't. I think they have this thing in their head about like, well, I don't own the game. Well, if you love the game so much, you can always buy it. But that's kind of like you're renting the game for infinite time, right? It's
I mean, it really is though. Like Gears of War is still on there. I can go freaking download the
it's
last Gears of
essentially
War, which is over a year ago.
it's like GameFly, but like you have it instantly instead of having to wait for it to be delivered. So, I mean,
Yeah.
we have. How many do you have? I have like 3 subscriptions. I have
Oh god,
Ubisoft,
yeah.
EA,
Ubisoft, EA, and Game
and
Pass.
Game Pass, and
And I save
those.
so much money.
Yeah, and I get to play all the games that I like, especially narrative games. And then Sony has their own, right? But I think they're pulling back on some of their first party games. But either way, I think it's
But either way, it's still like, what if Starfield? I mean, it's not going to. But what if you personally you didn't like it? Then you just wasted $50.
right. Like I love the fact that I can just play Doom, and then if I'm tired of Doom, I can switch to another game, and then
Talk about a good game that I've never beat. Because after like an hour, I'm like, oh my god.
that game is just so fast. I don't. It's just it's like rolling. It's like excuse me. It's like being on roller skates the entire time.
Yeah.
So, but it's fun and it's gory.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I've never finished it either. I got pretty close, but I'm just like, okay.
All right. What happened after that? What do we got? We're almost through everything here. So after that we had Cyberpunk. We had the revitalized Cyberpunk.
I mean, Cyberpunk. Cool. I'm gonna do another run through. I think that with all the changes, the
DLC, Idris Elba.
DLC, yeah. I mean, it's a good game, man. I'm surprised that not surprised. Let's take that back. I'm proud of the developer going back and fixing everything and making it a very polished game. And I think that they understand now, like, we're not going to release an unpolished game again. And I think also they're trying to satisfy too many different things, right? To all the consoles, including last gen.
Yeah, that was just that was not the play.
Right. And then I think
also a great example of a game is never actually dead. Like people are like, dead game, it didn't work. Like Cyberpunk proves that if you keep the passion and you keep the work, like there was clearly a very good game there, and then they did it. Like, so I'm super excited for that.
I'm just gonna mention EA. I'm looking at you, EA. You killed my game that I thought was going to be
Anthem. Would have been
Anthem. The mechanics on Anthem were so good. You could have just gave out a free update with some new content and rebuilt that game. It was a lot of fun, and I'm very disappointed in you, EA. I'm looking at you directly. Also, EA, what's the other game, Brian, that we want back?
Oh my god, dude! They could just like make Titanfall 3, which
goes
into Armor Core 6 is out like in 2 days. Like, I don't care. Titanfall 3 would be so much better.
Titanfall 2 was so good. The campaign alone deserves $70. Like, it was so good. I replayed it a couple months ago.
Do you have the notes on the rest? Like, what? I guess we have another run on. We had Snap on PC. I'm not a Snap guy. It's a mobile game. It's on PC now. Armor Core 6, which is reviews are out today. That game drops, I think. Excuse me, it's Friday. Reviews were out on Wednesday. The game will already be out. I think it will be out when this podcast launches. It comes out this Friday. They showed off a Warhaven Melee multiplayer game that was like a whatever, and then they kind of ended with a bit of a bang here, I guess you could say, with that Mortal Kombat 1 reveal, which was 2 new characters.
Yep.
I'm a campaign MK guy, and then I'm out. I'm not good at fighting games.
Yeah, it's a cool story, and then I think the evolution of those games have been the narrative part, right?
Yeah.
So I like
And I know
that,
that you've
and
been a
then
bit into Diablo. I almost feel like Diablo. I mean, it seemed like with the rollout of things, they were prepped for it, but I think season 2 reveal happened really, really, really early and was more of a like, look, we're fixing some things and look how cool this is, because it definitely looks better than the first season.
and
But
you're adding a new character, vampires, which is it looks really dope.
right, and
So,
vampire powers
and it's free. It's a free update,
free.
guys. So if you bought the game, go back. They love
Yeah,
you.
they love
Spend
you.
more money with them.
Yeah, it comes out in October. It'll be 5 new bosses. Everything will be revolved around vampires. There's going to be
Yeah.
vampire abilities, and this update's also going to be the one that fixes the gem stash. So if you were kind of waiting for some things, I know people have been saying they're going to wait for season 3. I think the start of season 2 could be a good reason to get back into Diablo if you're currently not playing it.
Yeah, being a vampire that slays vampire sounds pretty cool. So I
Sounds
think
fun.
I'm gonna check it out. And then they ended with Alan Wake 2. And it was cool, man. They revealed that there's gonna be some live action. And basically the live action is going to be basically like a dream sequence called The Dark Place. And so I mean, it looked awesome. I was pleasantly surprised because I thought that that live action aspect died with a great game that came out on a
The wrong
underpowered
console.
system.
Yeah.
Yeah, underpowered system, which was
Quantum Break.
Quantum Break. Yes, I'm actually currently replaying it on the X. Phenomenal, and the concept of having live action cutscenes, not cutscenes, essentially. Oh, and they're live action
I mean,
cutscenes.
yeah, you call them
Um,
cutscenes. It just like
yeah,
cuts to like a live action, like you're watching essentially a TV
episode.
episode tied to a video game, which is really cool.
Yeah, and they're like 10 minutes, and they have actual legit actors. If you haven't played Quantum Break, go back and play it. It is awesome on the Series X and
Yeah.
PC. But Alan Wake, obviously they're going that route with it. So it looked really cool. It looked dark. And it looks more, like they showed the original gameplay was more like, the third person shooter type thing, first person shooter type thing where you walking in as a detective, but this one kind of pulled back and it's going over the story of you being a screenwriter or book writer,
Book writer.
and then
Yeah.
having these kind of lucid dreams. So it looked cool, man. I'm excited for it. I mean, I didn't really expect the live action portion, so
No, that was a
that
cool
was cool.
reveal. See, because
Yeah,
they
and then
hadn't showed that before, so that was what was new with Alan Wake 2 for Gamescom.
the only other thing was they gave out the dates of the new Game Awards, which will
December
be December
7th.
7th.
I love the Game
Yes.
Awards.
Hopefully they'll have better security this year.
Hopefully, and that's where BG3 will win Game of the Year, like we talked about.
It's probably going to be Starfield, but we'll see. Anyways, yeah. So that's kind of where it's at this point.
Well,
I don't.
look, that is Gamescom. We just covered it, y'all. Okay, we just gave you 33 minutes of Gamescom. So that leaves me with one question.
I don't know.
Baldur's Gate 3. Okay, that's why I brought it up. Because we started this with Gamescom and we didn't start with like our fun dad advice. Maybe we'll do some dad advice after this, but I want to know something. I actually need to look this up real quick, y'all. I want to look this up because last I saw, I was asking Freddie, because I like Baldur's Gate 3. I think it's a really cool game, but I was curious, and maybe we'll do a whole podcast on this, about when is a game too big? And a while ago, somebody had posted on Twitter that they had like just beat the first act of Baldur's Gate 3, and it was like 8% of people have completed that achievement. And I was just like, holy crap. And it's something I'm definitely going to continue to come back to, because I'll be curious in like 2 months from now, like what the percentage rate is of Act 2 completion. And let's say this game wins Game of Year. Is that a good thing that it is overwhelmingly positive on Steam, has a ridiculous play rate, might win game of the year, but 10% of people may see Act 2? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, you know my thoughts on that. I don't think the game. Look, at the end of the day, like having a conclusion to a game feels good. It gives you, it gives you kind of a sense of accomplishment. Like Valhalla. I spent like 79 hours playing Valhalla, and then I don't really look at progression, and then I looked at progression, and I was like, cool. So I am still probably halfway through the game. 140 plus hours is just too much. It's a
Yeah.
great game, and I liked it. I just don't think it's an absolute necessity to be a billion hours. Like make a good 40, even 50-hour game, and then I don't know.
Yeah, so it's right. That's less than 10% of people have beat Act 1 of Baldur's Gate 3.
Look up Valhalla. I want to see what the percentage of full completion of that game. I mean, it's been out for 2 years, 3 years. I feel like it's not. I would say 50%. And I think the other side of this too is like, there's too many games coming out, right? So like,
Yeah.
by the time you're halfway through this game and you haven't accomplished the goal of finishing the game, and maybe that's not, maybe Pod, tell me, if that's not your goal. Your goal is just to have fun. Then please let us know, what you set as a goal for a game. But that's why I think that's why Sony's successful when it comes to those 10, 15-hour, 20-hour games.
Yeah, 50% of people finish. Oh no, I'm sorry. 50% of people finish the first Assassin's Creed game. 25% of players finish Valhalla.
Yeah, 25%, which I mean, look, and they're making expansions, which is another, like, who's playing these expansions if you haven't finished the first, 25% of the game? So I think, look, make a 40, 50-hour game, then make an expansion and expand there. Like, it just.
Yeah, but see, RPG people love these big games. So do you think, I mean, God, I'd like to know too, if anybody wants to comment, like, are you a fan of that? Do you like the idea that like you'll just continually come back to Baldur's Gate 3 for a year and one day you'll beat it? Is it exciting to know it's that big? Is that where you feel like your value is put in? You're definitely getting your dollar per minute. I'd be curious to know. Maybe we can do that again on the next one.
Yeah, it depends on the person, right? And I think the other side of it is like sometimes there's so many games and the mechanics are all different for the game that like leaving a game and coming back, you have to kind of relearn how to play a game.
Yeah, you do.
It just depends on the types of games you play. But to me, give me a 40-hour game that is like super polished and give me 2 DLCs that are like Cyberpunk, right? Cyberpunk is not a crazy long game, but
It can be.
and
It's loaded down in side missions, but I mean, yeah.
I mean, like the main campaign is not like insane. And then you have expansions. And then you can always, like I said, create an MMO out of those games. Make
You can. Yeah.
make it an
Cyberpunk is
RPG.
24 and a half hours.
Yeah,
But you could spend up to 100. See, that's what you're saying. I agree with you. I think like Baldur's Gate 3 could have been like a 25, 30-hour game with a 200-hour side missions, extra stuff if you want to do. But it's actually straight up like a 80-hour game just for the main campaign. But.
Yeah, so I mean, and I'm sure people love it. It's a great value, right? If you have 100 plus hours, you can play that game forever. And maybe it's what they call the Game Pass syndrome, where like there's so many games coming out that
you play the prologue and you're like, that was fun. Ooh, new thing. Ooh,
yeah,
ooh,
exactly.
Squirrel.
I mean, it's one of those things, man. Like I can see the reality there.
It's like the Netflix syndrome is what it is, where you just like,
oh yeah,
I'm gonna find a movie, and 2 hours later, you're like, I guess I'm gonna go to bed.
You just watch a bunch of trailers. Like, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, Diablo's perfect too. I thought Diablo's what, 30 hours?
Yeah,
20 hours?
Diablo's campaign was so good.
Yeah, exactly.
So good. But
and it's
all right.
I think the conclusion
I know you got to be somewhere.
Like,
I don't want to make you late to your thing.
No, it's good, man. I enjoy these pods, especially if people subscribe. It makes it worth their while to spend.
Hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, and follow us. You can listen to us in the car. Our really silky voices.
All the silkiness.
Yes.
But this has been the third. This has been the third episode. We covered Gamescom quickly on some dad stuff. So hit me with one dad advice for gamers now. Go.
Get time away from everybody. Make it part of your daily chore to have at least an hour to yourself. Maybe for gaming, maybe for working out, maybe for half gaming, half just silence because it's a rarity in your home. But make time. Do the things that make you happy so you're sane and you can be a good parent and spouse and all those things. Also, get a haircut. I can see you. You need a haircut. So
I do need one real bad. Join a community. It's my thing. I think that's what I love about gaming. It gives you space to hang out with like-minded people, also maybe having the same problems as you. Gives you a little chance to vent, hang out, pew some aliens or whatever style of game you like. You know, like my community, the Filthy Casuals, Discord below. I didn't mean to plug that, but
before we go, let's go off one thing that we thought that was going to be at the showcase that wasn't. And I'll start with you.
that was X Defiant. I was with everybody thinking X Defiant was going to show up at the showcase and drop a release date. They did not. So, alas, we wait.
Yeah, I think for me, I thought that maybe Microsoft would show Indiana Jones or trailer or something. That
yeah.
One of the games, one of the many games they said they are making. Any trailer of anything, right? I mean, like Sony showed
Hellblade.
Hellblade. Oh my God, Hellblade. But I'm guessing Hellblade is end of the year game at the Game Awards. That's what when the first one was revealed. I feel like this is kind of like a full circle opportunity for them. All right, and then one more thing. Is the opinionated gamers. Give me a pointed opinion, and it can't be about Baldur's Gate.
What?
You heard me.
Fine. You want an opinion, huh?
Yeah, give me something good.
I think that Destiny 2 needed to do more in their final shape showcase. I think the future of Destiny is still very much going to be laid out in the execution of what they do because the hype is dying. As I wear a Destiny shirt.
I don't know if Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to meet its hype.
Oh, hell no, it's not.
The hype around, I mean, that guy was all like the hype around Grand Theft Auto. I'm sure it's going to be a phenomenal game.
It's going to be. Oh, yeah.
But the hype around it to be the best game ever created really is going. I mean, I'm sure they've been working on it forever and it's $1 billion+ project, but man. But I think the big thing too to go back is like Grand Theft Auto 5 has made more money.
God knows how
they've re-released that game, and then look, they're smart too. They'll put it on Game Pass for like 6 months, and then pull it, and then everybody would buy the game, and then so like
that's where I don't know how it meets hype or how you transition the players out of 5 into 6. That's gonna be tough.
I mean, it would have to be a game that looks and feels like a true successor, right? It has to look. I mean, if it looked like The Matrix, right? Like if that's the look,
that would be dope.
I mean, it is. I don't know what engine they're using. I'm sure. I'm sure it
could be Unreal, dude. Everybody seems to be picking it up, but as you just saw with Immortals, it ate your computer. So
yeah, so that's the other side. Is like, okay, these poor consoles, the poor S. We talked about this. The thing is gonna fly into space.
I know, dude.
So that's really it. I think that
all right.
I'm hopeful. So
well, cool. Episode 3 in the bag, y'all. The opinionated gamers, the OGs. I'm Brian.
And I am Freddie.
Have a wonderful effing day.
See you guys.